Paid for by Marjan, Philhour for Supervisor 2020. Financial disclosures are available at sfethics.org. Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Marjan Philhour. I am really lucky to be talking with so many local merchants here in the Richmond district who are really having to reimagine doing business right now under the shelter in place order. And so I am really honored to have Rachel Philhour here today with tonlé, which is a zero waste women's fashion line located right here on 3rd and Clement. Tonlé clothes are made entirely from surplus fabric discarded by apparel manufacturers after the clothing has been cut and trimmed, which, I mean, talk about just efficiency and really what we want to see in how we live our lives right now, especially now that we've had more time to reflect on what we're doing to the environment. So I am really excited that you were able to make the time to join us today, Rachel, and thank you so much for joining us for this chat. So how are you doing? Loaded question.
Well, thank you so much for having me, first of all. And it's great to be here. And yeah, nice to see a human being's face.
I know, right? It's like, I'm so happy to see you.
It's kind of been a roller coaster. That's the only way I can really describe it. I feel like there are elements of this have really made me motivated to feel like, oh, there's these windows of opportunity to change some of these really fundamentally flawed systems that are coming to bear, that are really, showing the cracks in the system are showing. And these are problems that we've always, these injustices, these inequalities have always existed. And now we have this window of opportunity to be like, this is why we need to fix these things.
Yeah.
And, trying to balance that with like my own personal sanity and trying to keep everything I need to keep afloat. And also the fact that I'm now doing like multiple people's jobs in isolation and trying to keep my business running. So it's been very difficult, emotionally and physically demanding when working many, many hours, but, not really having the support systems that you need and so forth.
Right.
So it's been a really challenging time.
I was really excited to hear that you were kind of diversifying the way you're doing things, because that's all we can really do right now is adapt to this new environment. And so for some of our viewers who haven't heard of tonlé, could you tell us a little about like what you're doing and how you came about, and how the idea of responsibly sourced women's clothing came about?
Yeah, sure. So I actually, I have a degree in art, and I mostly focus on textile, fine art and design. And I went to actually do a research project in Cambodia in 2008. That was on fair trade and sustainability. And it's a really interesting timing, because that was right in the beginning of the last recession, which really crippled and affected the garment industry pretty dramatically. And I would say that 2008 actually led to the rise of fast fashion.
Wow.
And so you have this industry that just is completely is defined by inequality, essentially, and exploitation. And for me, my passion wasn't, the clothing aspect so much as, I enjoy creating things. I'm a creator at heart, but my passion was, how do we take the system, which has been very destructive for a lot of people for a long time, and actually harness it to do something good. So while I was in Cambodia, I ended up working with a group of women to start a small business there, and actually really started out very grassroots. We had a little shop that I ran with them in Phnom Penh, in the capital.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I ended up living in Cambodia for 7 years. So I built up that business kind of from the ground up, and worked with artisans there to kind of co-create a production model that actually benefited people's needs, as well as, created a beautiful product that customers wanted at the same time. So finding that balance between, how do we create a business that actually works for everyone, not just for the people at the top, right? And it was really like an amazing journey to be able to work together with people in that way, because in fashion, you're so often separated from the people who make your clothes.
Right.
And so just being able to have that close relationship with the makers and understand like how to design this business that was actually for them rather than just for the customer, right? And so, so after 7 years of kind of building that up, and while I was there, I also discovered the problem with waste in the industry. There was a huge amount of textiles that were being thrown out that were perfectly good, that were brand new, like things that were just off the cutting table, or even fabric that was old, that hadn't been used. So we started using that waste.
And you saw all that firsthand.
Yes, and I saw the pollution being dumped into rivers from factories. I've seen giant, dump trucks dumping out huge piles of clothing that's perfectly good. I could go on. And the air pollution, everything that affects like these really super crowded cities in Asia. And a lot of that, is basically being created on our behalf.
Yes.
So kind of seeing this moment where it's like, oh, maybe we can't actually just exploit the planet and exploit everyone around the world without any consequence, right? I think we do have this moment where we can really say, like, what do we want these systems to look like when we come back? Like when we come back from this, like how are we going to do this differently? Because it's not working. Like it's working for, it's not working for the majority of us, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's like a little bit of the
yeah, no, I mean, and we here, right here in our own neighborhood, are able to be supportive, even under this new shelter in place order. How has your business model changed, given the events of the past several weeks?
Yeah, like I said, it was definitely like, it's been a very big up and down as I'm trying to figure out. I'm kind of just been feeling like kind of coming up with an idea, and then that's getting shut down, and then trying to, like adapting. Like every day I feel like I'm coming up with a new business plan.
Yeah.
We've been doing kind of like e-commerce sales and all the sales, marketing and shipping and distribution, everything we do right here in our store in Clement Street.
Wow.
So we sell to other boutiques, and we also sell online.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, because we sell to other boutiques around the country that are all independent retailers, they're all closed, right? So 90% of my window, not because of my store on Clement Street, but because of all the retailers that we work with who had to close around the country. So we lost like 90% of our revenue. And a lot of that was orders that I had already paid the makers to make them, right? And we're and I mean, I don't blame the retailers. It's like, this is the situation we're all in.
Right.
It's just like, it's just really difficult. And so now I've kind of pivoted to like, okay, really all we can do is online right now. So we're going to just focus more on that, try to like grow more of our online business. The neighborhood is, the Clement Street neighborhood is really supportive. And I know that a lot of our neighbors really want to, support these small businesses at this time. So a lot of neighbors have been really like going out of their way to support us, which is really lovely.
Yeah.
And, I have a really great like customer base around the country as well with their online site. So luckily, like people kind of came out to like, digitally came out to support us as well.
Yeah.
And so it's going okay. Like it hasn't been, it's definitely like we lost a lot of money and we're really struggling to keep everything going. But it gives me hope that we can kind of pivot to more of this kind of digital model, because I think honestly, a lot of the small businesses, like I don't think retail is going to come back for a while. Like eventually it will. But I think we're even when the shelter in place, lifts, I think a lot of people are going to be really careful about, going out for a long time, so.
Right. Yeah. And we don't know when that's going to be. I mean, for me, my sister and I, we run a pottery studio and gift shop in the outer Richmond on Balboa. And, so much of our business is being social and present with people. And, whether it's the gift shop aspect where people are actually going into the shop and shopping, or, doing like being on a wheel together, right? It's things are going to be very different. So if you had a message for Richmond residents who want to help affected small businesses and workers right now, what kind of message would you want to communicate?
Yeah, so I've been working really closely with the Neighborhood Association of Merchants, the Clement Street Merchants Association.
Yeah.
Work on promoting like more digital promotions for our merchants, so that we can all like, I strongly believe like we need to work together to kind of get our messages out there. So I've been trying to work together with the other merchants to kind of promote that community angle. And we started a fundraiser to actually basically a fundraiser, which you can find on GoFundMe. The money will basically go to the Clement Street Merchants Association, who will buy gift cards from the merchants, and then the gift cards will be given to local nonprofits. So let's say like, someone buys a gift card from one of the restaurants on the street, and then that gift card will be given to a nonprofit to give to their constituents to support.
Oh, wonderful.
Support our neighbors who are also struggling. So, so it's cool. It's a nice way to, I think, give in both directions, where it's helping like some of the local merchants to stay alive, because I think, some of the merchants on our street, they offer services that they can't, do virtually. Some of the restaurants have been able to do takeout and so forth, and they're making some money from that. But I think a lot of businesses will really struggle to survive this. And, we don't want to come back to a neighborhood that's a ghost town, right? So I think small businesses are really the backbone of these communities, especially, the Richmond district is a lot of independent and small businesses. And, if we all are not able to come back together, then I think it will really affect the entire community. So I do think it is really important to support our small local businesses right now, because these businesses are, so important to creating the community that we all love here. And then also just like, everyone's been saying this, but buying gift cards and getting takeout if you feel comfortable with that, from some of the local restaurants, and ordering things. I think if you're thinking about you need to buy something essential, it might take a couple extra steps to research which small business you can get that from. But like, if you can do everything you can to not order that from Amazon and try to order it from a local business. So if you're thinking like, I need soap, or I need toilet paper, or I need, a lot of the local merchants have these things. So look online and see if you can buy it from a local merchant before you immediately go to a giant e-commerce platform.
Yes.
So that's another
advice. No, I agree. We all need to come together. We're going to get through this together. And part of that is continuing to shop locally, while complying with the parameters, the shelter in place order that's in currently in place. So that is excellent advice, and something that we need to encourage our neighbors to do and to follow. I guess before we close out, do you have any stories about what you have experienced as a business owner that might spread some positivity during this time?
Yeah, I will say that I think it is really amazing to see people, like, there is this kind of beauty of people coming out and supporting each other in a way that you don't see on a day-to-day basis. And I do think that people are aware and recognizing that, how interdependent we are. I am encouraged to just see, community coming together and, coming together to help each other. And I think that we have to, that's the only way we're going to, get through this. So just have to keep doing that, I think.
Well, those are words to live by right now. So thank you so much for taking the time today, and we'll make sure to get the word out about everything you're doing and what you're doing, pouring your heart and soul into our neighborhood business corridor. So thank you so much for that. It was really great to talk to you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Have a good one. Okay, bye.